Great. So we are live again, another Monday. Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome. We have new Python Island members, and we also have our speakers here already. Hello, hello, everyone. So let's start with our lovely speakers tonight. So I have here with me Lorraine Underwood.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Welcome. And then I also have David Curran. Hello, David.
Hello. Hello.
Then the new members of the Python Island committee. So welcome, Uja.
Hi everyone.
And then we also have Olga here with us today.
Hey guys.
And we have Kevin, but Kevin is hiding. So yeah, maybe later. Wonderful. Then another edition of PyData Dublin. Very, very good. We're going to start with you, Lorena, right?
Sorry, the dog would have come just arrived.
Yeah, I saw she was going up and down a little bit beforehand. She's adorable.
She's reading your book. She's reading your book.
Oh yeah, it's for all ages and breeds.
Yeah.
So, but if I could share my screen then, so I'll just start sharing and then talking over my presentation. It's not very long, so I'll do that. I'll start that now. Okay, so you can see my screen?
Yes.
Yep. Great. So hi, thanks for inviting me tonight. It's always good to come home. My name is Lorraine Underwood. I'm Irish, but I've lived in the UK for 14 years now. And in the last 3 years, I've kind of decided to call myself a maker. When people ask me what I do, I say maker, as well as general awesome person. I'll just tell you a little bit about myself, where I've come from, and then kind of move on to my projects and then move on to my book. So I'm from Tallaght originally. I went to DIT Kevin Street and I did a bachelor's in computer science. I worked for Microsoft for a year during my degree and didn't like it. Quite like Microsoft, really nice company to work for, but just really boring. I was a software test engineer, which is just like the worst job ever. And I was really good at it, but I just didn't want to do it. You know, I decided, oh, great, I've done a 4-year degree in computer science, and I'm no longer interested in computer science. But I was a scout leader, and I was kind of interested in education and teaching. So I decided to do a postgraduate certificate in education, which is the UK version of the teacher training. And at the time, it was free to do. They actually paid you. They paid you like £6,000 to do it in Wales, which is not very far away. So I thought, give it a go. It's only a year. And I did a PGC and then got a job teaching ICT, which is basically just Word and PowerPoint and Excel. Met my husband, who's also a caterer, and we moved kind of to York, and now we're on the other side of Yorkshire, and we had 2 kids. And then we kind of moved to the other side of Yorkshire for my husband's dream job. And then I got what is now my dream job. So I work at Lancaster University, and initially I was a computing at school regional coordinator. So in the UK, they changed the national curriculum from ICT, horrible ICT, to awesome computing. But suddenly they had all these business teachers who were like, I don't know how to code. I have to teach coding. So they gave computing at school a load of money to teach teachers how to teach computing. So that was my job, was to teach teachers how to teach computing. So I was a teacher of teachers. And it was awesome because much prefer teaching adults than children. And now, and that's when I discovered Python. So I never learned Python at university. You think it was probably too new. 2006, I graduated. So as part of my job, I went to the RaspPi Academy. I don't know if you heard of it. It's kind of like the RaspPi training for teachers that they do in the UK. And it wasn't very good, actually. I didn't really like it, but I discovered Python, and I discovered you can code lights. So that kind of just like started me on my journey into Python and making. So yeah, that's my maker journey. Started with Pi Academy. Didn't really like breadboards and LEDs and resistors. I really hate that kind of stuff, especially teaching it to children because they lose them. And I'm sure someone somewhere has eaten a resistor. You know, it's just such a terrible idea, these tiny twiddly things with small hands. I can't even get them in the holes. So what I really like is NeoPixels. It's stuff you just plug and play and you're away, and you don't have to worry about resistors or electronics. I'll show you some of my projects. So yeah, I became a certified educator with PyAcademy. One of my first projects that I made were my stair lights. So these are the lights that are on my stairs right now. They're actually connected to a Raspberry Pi, and it's connected to the internet. That kind of gets the GPS coordinates from my house and says, what's the weather? What's the temperature? So if it's 26 degrees or more, which it was last week, this is what my lights look like. So they go full red. If it's only like 5 degrees, only the blue lights will turn on, and so on and so forth. So 5, 10, 15, and then all the way up to 25. And they refresh every 5 minutes. So it's quite nice. We don't leave them on at night. A lot of people think it's great for going to the toilet, but we don't actually leave them on at night because you know, what's the point of having lights refreshing every 5 minutes? A bit of waste of energy. I published this in the Magpie magazine, and it's a really popular project, and it's a really easy project, I think. And it shows the best of Python, you know, like the web-based language that you can run on a Pi that can control hardware. And I also really like it because it controls lights and not motors, because I'm not a great fan of robots. So I've done lots of little small projects in between, but my big project, my baby, my third child, is Qbert, which I made 3 years ago now. Qbert is 3, and this is a meter size cube of lights, and they're ping pong balls. So you can see the radiator for scale in the background. And I made this with my husband, and this was a lot of electronics. There's a lot of soldering. So each light has like 4 connections, and it's soldered onto the wire. Yeah, it's just like, I did a whole talk, and it's on YouTube actually, at Raspberry Fields, about how not to make this cube, because it was quite an endeavor. But everyone loves Qbert. I brought it around the country. I brought it to Dublin, coolest projects, Cambridge, Newcastle, Leeds. About like a year and a half, and then it just like it's heavy. It's awkward. The poles stab you in the arm when you try and carry them. So yeah, I kind of retired Qbert last year after, I think it was after Liverpool Make Fest last June. So it's actually in the next room. I do have plans for it. It's not dead. I haven't killed Qbert because people are very attached to this. Oh yeah, it's coded with a microbit. So I want to kind of show off what the microbit can do. So it's just a microbit, don't have one, little tiny microcontroller controlling all 512 lights. So these are just the rainbow effect, which a lot of people do with these artworks. They just display like motion stuff, but I wanted to play games on it. So you can play Snake or Pac-Man on the cube. And so people could come along, have a controller and play on the cube, which I thought was really important to show people that it's interactive. It's not just a piece of work that someone else has made and you can admire. It's something that you can interact with, and that's what I was going for. And that was Qbert, and that was one of my really popular projects. Never really connected to a Raspberry Pi, but had lots of potential, really. You know, like, again, going back to weather data, it could have rained on the cube, you know, kind of a lot of stuff, but I never really tested out fully because it was never assembled in my house. Because it took like, I don't know, it took like 90 minutes to assemble it. And so I never had it assembled in my house. It was always in a pile in my house. But it will live again. It will live again. That's Qbert. And then finally, onto my book. So last December 2018, McGraw-Hill, they're a big education publishing company, approached me through Twitter and said, we're looking for some people to write some books. Do you have any ideas? And I just like, what? Yes. Just didn't really expect that to happen. I didn't know that this is what publishing companies do. I think I was recommended by a friend, Helen Lee, who also wrote a book for them previously. So it was kind of more like she knew me through Twitter and knew that I was kind of like a maker person. So within 24 hours, I'd written a whole kind of, this is what I do. It's like 20 chapters, this is it. And eventually we got round to Save the World with Code. It's 20 hands-on projects. So it's not a coding book. It's not kind of, you can learn to code using this book. You kind of do need the physical hardware. You can do a lot on the simulator with the microbit and the Circuit Playground Express, but I think you need the hands-on to get the full experience of the book. So I took this on my knee just now. this is kind of, each project gives you which device it's for. So sometimes there's 20 projects, but sometimes I've done them 3 times. So microbit, Circuit Playground Express, and Raspberry Pi. And it tells you if you need extra tools. I try and keep it like really simple. Like some of the extra tools are just crocodile tip clips and tinfoil, just trying to keep it simple and cheap for people as well. Yeah, there's not a lot of Python in the book because I was really going for the lower ages. You know, I'm kind of more involved in primary schools now through Code Club. In my work, I send out undergraduates into code clubs to teach students, for the undergraduates to teach primary school kids. So I kind of more aimed at that age, and my eldest son is 8. So I kind of got that kind of mindset in my head of this is who it's aimed for, minimum age. And Python, I think, is a bit too difficult at that age. But there are some Python things in here. There's about 6 of them. And here's some of the projects. So this is my son, David. So he's obviously British. And when we go home and I'm there with him, it's like, oh my God, I brought home Mary Poppins, because all these Irish accents suddenly enhance his British accent. But like, I try and like slip in some Irish stuff in there. So that's the tricolour, if you can see it on the Circuit Playground Express. That's a really cool board. You can run Circuit Python on that. And it's got new pixels on it on the board. So that's a really, and it's got all the sensors that the microbit has as well. And it's actually got a buzzer. So it's a little bit better than the microbit in terms of sensors, but hasn't got a screen. This is one of my favorites. So each book has a challenge. It's not actually in the book, it challenges you. If you can get hold of some extra buttons, make a zombie reaction game using like arcade buttons, because they're really cool, using the Raspberry Pi. Always have to have lights. This was a zombie attack sword using neopixels. I got them, you know, if you tilt it to the left, it goes blue, tilt to the right, it goes green. Have a look at other kind of motion and colors and loops and stuff. Really like that one. And there's a step counter. That's the microbit. Best bit about the microbit is the screen, so you can get sensor data straight back really accurately. So it gives you numbers and words and stuff. So that just counted the number of steps that you took. Cookie jar. So, oh yeah, the Circuit Playground Express also has a light sensor. Oh no, so does the microbit. If you open the cookie jar, the light will set off the alarm, and it goes. So your cookies are safe. That's, again, it says all ages. The publisher said, you know, don't say kids, say all ages. But really, it's kids, or it's big kids. It's who it's aimed at. And I think that's all I had presentation wise. Just kind of some links to leave you with. So the book is Save the World with Code. It was published. Took forever to be released. Kind of last month it came out officially. It's on Amazon now for $16.64. Just checked it. And there's a website that accompanies the book, which is not my blog, but you'll see it in the book. That has extra challenges in it. That's my blog, where I kind of put my makes on. That's my Twitter. I live on Twitter. If you ever want to find me, even if I'm work, you can tweet me. And that's it. I kind of rushed through because I haven't got my clock in front of me. How am I okay to time?
Yeah, loads of time.
Yeah.
Oh, loads of time.
We've got loads of time for questions as well.
Okay, yeah.
Good ones. I just thought I'd like open up, see if anybody else wants to ask a few questions first. Like, yeah.
Oh, I've gone through the book with my daughter's 8, and we haven't gone through every project yet, but it's really good. It's really enjoyable. You don't actually need that much kit for it. You know, like tin foil is some little with the detectors and stuff, so it's not a huge amount of gear. So it's really great. Just in terms of teaching Python to younger people, do you have any sort of recommendations for people, or what sort of works and doesn't work in your experience?
Yeah, so I kind of, this year I started teaching undergraduates. I started teaching 18-year-olds who aren't studying computer science. And so kind of started looking into how do you actually teach coding, because I was never taught that. And it's always good not to start from a blank slate. You know, don't say, right, create this program, because straight away you're just giving them a blank page and they're like, I have no idea. You know, give them some code and say, what's wrong with this code? What does this code do? Or what do you think this code does? you know, give them something to work with that they can make their own. And I've seen people do that with Scratch as well. You know, the teacher gives them Scratch code that's already been created, but something's broken, or they want you to add like a score to the game. So give them something to start with so they can kind of easy wins, you know, they can kind of gain confidence really quickly.
Cool. Yeah, that makes sense. And what's your favorite project in the book, do you think?
I said this in an interview the other day, and I can't remember, so now I'm going to lie and say it's something else. I think it's, I can't remember what I said. It's the sword, really, like the light up sword. Because I also got like 2 girls to, for the photographs, all the kids in the book are all kids from my son's school, or my son's class. They go to a very small primary school. There's only 11 in my son's year. So I just asked all the girls in his class to come and take photographs because I really wanted to show girls doing computing. And one of the pictures, she has like a French knot in her hair and she's holding the sword like this. And I'm like, yes, yes, there she is. That's Fionn and Indy. So they're all in my son's class. So I just really like it because it's, you know, people think, oh, a sword is aggressive, it's not really for girls, but it's a light up sword, and swords can be for girls. You know, I was going to say it could be a wand, but no, actually, it doesn't need to be a wand for it to be approachable for a girl. It can be a sword, they just make it their own. So that's why it's my favorite.
That's so awesome. Like, seriously, it's so awesome. I love the idea of the swords for the girls. But Qbert is still, I know Qbert is not in the book, but Qbert is still my favorite. Would you mind telling me, how did you travel with that? How did you bring that up and down? Because you said you traveled around with it.
So I won't grab the columns. The columns, they all come out. So each of those columns have 8 ping pong balls on them. They all pop out of that base. And the base is 2 halves as well. So it actually all fit in the boot of my car, because each column is a meter. You can't see my hands. I'm doing this, but you can't actually see my hands. Each column is a meter, but okay. And there are 64 columns and 8 ping pong balls on each one. And the top ping pong ball always rolled away when I was taking it out of the car to bring it somewhere. So it was just a nightmare to carry around. But it was so well loved.
Because each of the ping pong balls are just detached, right? So you just put them all together.
No, so the poles go through the ping pong ball.
Oh, okay, cool. I got it.
So only the top one rolls off. So it's like 3 poles. Yeah, 3 poles going through ground power and data. And the neopixel is there, and the ping pong ball sits on top of the neopixel.
Okay, cool.
And then it goes into the next neopixel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
I got a question there. It's concerning sort of, let's say, the normalization of technology for pre-adolescent children. That's obviously very big from when I was a child. So is it fair to say that increasingly 9, 10, 11-year-olds are becoming very au fait with their own technology, very familiar with their own technology and building their own technology?
I'd say no. I'd say no, not at all. Because, yeah, my son, you see him, an 8-year-old on Minecraft, he's like a pro, you know, he's got the fingers and he doesn't get seasick and he can do it. But he can't make anything. He can't build anything. He doesn't know how to connect to the Wi-Fi network, which is great. You know, this whole digital native thing is nonsense. Because, yeah, they can use a phone, but they don't know what to do if the Wi-Fi is down, or, you know, it's...
Okay.
I'd say they are more confident with technology, but not necessarily the way we want them to be.
Okay, I think the confidence really is sort of the crucial thing. Are they afraid of technology?
Like, I've taught, like, thinking of I taught in a girls' grammar school last year, and, like, these are 14, 15-year-old girls. They all have iPhones. You know, they all have Snapchat. But they come in and they'd be like, I hate computers. I hate IT. I'm rubbish at this. So there's confidence in one area of, yeah, I'm a pro of, like, you remember when you used to play Snake on the little Nokia? Or when you used to type with the keyboard? How do you say hello? 4,
Yeah.
3,
Oh, yeah.
5. Yeah, you
Yeah.
still know the numbers. But yeah, it's kind of different confidence in using an iPhone versus confidence making a PowerPoint presentation, which they didn't have. Well, actually, they were better at PowerPoint, but they didn't want to code in HTML or anything like that.
Okay, so we're a long way off that yet, because that's sort of like, I thought was very interesting about this, like the children and their relationship with technology, and as a result, like stuff with like Python and all that.
Yeah, like we should see that, because the UK 4 years ago changed the curriculum to be computing.
Yeah.
So they move away from PowerPoint and Word onto coding, even in primary. So from 4 to 16, they teach computing. So we're hoping that like when they get to university, we'll see some coding come true in in medicine and in history, not just in computer science.
Okay. Yeah. So just like the computing syllabus over in the UK, would that be for all students, all pupils?
Yeah, 4 to 16, the national curriculum.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, I don't know how the A levels and stuff like that work over there.
Yeah, so they choose
and
their GCSEs
and for loops and if statements and.
Yeah, so we teach that at year 8, which is 13.
Okay.
Yeah, start teaching Python about year 8, year 9.
Yeah.
And that's the last year then. So year 10, they choose their options and they can never see computing ever again.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And maths, never ever again.
Really?
Oh no, they do maths at GCSE. Sorry, I'm going wrong. They do maths at junior cert, but they don't have to do it at leaving cert.
Okay, yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. No, it just actually is a sort of what happened recently in Ireland. I don't know if you're following this. Is that they made computing part of the leaving cert in Ireland.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's compulsory, but the fact that it's an option there is an encouraging sign.
It's crazy to think that I did my degree. I entered DIT computer science with no computing background, with no IT even. There was no A level, there was no leaving cert in IT when I went to college.
Yeah.
And there's still massive tech companies in Ireland. It's kind of like, did we need that? Do we need the pre-university education? Because we seem to be doing well supplying all these massive companies with programmers and stuff. I don't know.
I know it's a sort of
I want it. I do want to see it, but it's kind of like Ireland has always done well without a computer science A level.
Okay.
Leaving cert,
Yeah. Oh, well, I suppose if you're going to if you're good at it, you might as well do computer science as opposed to agricultural economics or something like that. Just cram all the stuff about phosphates and all that. I know, just a sort of, it's actually just a sort of that was a sort of it. Just actually the relationship with creative computing I'm also very interested in, because that's not really explored at all, really. And just like, I know the Qbert thing there, but it's a sort of, is there more of a discussion there about the relationship between technology and art going on?
Yeah, definitely with the introduction to the microbit. So 3 years ago, the BBC gave away 1 million microbits to every first year of high school.
For the sake of record, can you tell the audience what a microbit is, actually?
I haven't got one. I've got a T-shirt.
Yeah.
So microbit is a tiny little microcontroller. So it's a computer that you can code.
Okay.
So you can code it in blocks, like the Scratch-like blocks, or JavaScript, or Python, or MicroPython.
Yeah.
So it's used as a kind of a blank slate. It has 25 red LEDs on it, and it has sensors in it. It has an accelerometer, radio, light sensor. What else has it got? Yeah, it's just got a big pile of sensors in it. It's about £12 as well. It's quite cheap. So 3 years ago, the BBC gave away 1 million of these to every 11-year-old in the country through their schools.
Yeah.
So, and this is a physical computing device.
Okay.
This is something that leads to the creative stuff.
Yeah.
As to the first year of secondary school, and they're like, this is perfect for primary, you know, because it's kind of a cross-curricular device. DT departments, what would you call them? Call them DT. What would you call it? Woodwork.
Okay.
Yeah, they love the microbit because it's a very easy to use prototyping device.
Okay.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
you could put it on the back of your chair, and when you tilt your chair, an alarm goes off.
All right. Yeah. So there's
So that
sort of scope for fun and games with it.
yeah. I attached it to a strip of lights on a hoodie, and then the girl had to wear the hoodie.
Yeah.
And if she shouted, it would go red.
Ah, okay. Yeah, yeah.
So everyone around her had to whisper.
Yeah, this is very interesting actually. Sorry, just actually sort of thinking of like where a very applied and advanced application of this microbit stuff might be, let's say, sports analytics, where you have microbits around you or something like that. That can, is that fair to say that you can have like professional footballers? Essentially.
Yes, it's got an accelerometer in it, it's a tilt sensor and a magnetometer in it. It's a compass. Yeah. As well, so it's kind of how accurate that data is and what you could use it for.
Okay.
But that's kind of like, I see it as a prototyping device. You know.
Yeah.
This is what you could do.
Yeah.
This is you know, it's a quick prototype. Yeah. Here's my idea, and that's why it's great in those subjects like woodwork or design technology is what we call it. Yeah. Where you get to invent something for your junior search. Yeah. No,
write it up. Yeah, this is very interesting actually. Sort of the stuff about microbits. It's sort of like, I mean, in the first instance there was stuff aimed at pupils, but there is a lot of sort of potential doors to walk through for adults, like sports science.
So I've just applied for a PhD yesterday, and my PhD is microcontrollers in higher education.
Okay, yeah.
So it's using the microbit to teach undergraduates.
Yeah.
Because it's, you know, thinking of like the design school or the drama school using this device to create their art as well as just teaching coding using it.
Okay, yeah. So, like, I just to sort of switch over to David there. Just David, you're a parent with children, and you're sort of using this. How do you find it? How they're developing with it? Let's just sort of say comparing them to when you were a child.
So, it's kind of great because the iPad, which she can use, she's 8, and the microbit, which is really sort of robust as like a credit card, so they're not so scared of it. Yeah. And I think Lorraine had a great point there that you can just clip on something to the microbit, and away you go. It's not plugging into a breadboard and all those sort of the harder things to do. So I love the microbit, and then sort of she goes off and she does one of the projects from, you know, Lorraine's book. We working it together. Then she gets some other idea about, oh no, she wants to change the song that it plays or something else. She goes off and she does that on the iPad, and like she sort of gets very independent programming quite quickly. That, you know, she starts off with a project here, and then she decides to add a extra speaker to it or something different, and she feels she can go do that with the microbit in a way that maybe with the Raspberry Pi or an Arduino, they're a bit more intimidating. They're a bit more like a real computer, whereas this feels like just a credit card you can play with.
Yeah. Is it the type of thing like an Arduino and a Raspberry Pi would be, they can graduate up to that, like say when they're a bit older?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So the microbit is just kind of released so you code everything in blocks. You know what I mean by blocks, the scratch blocks, and then you click on a tab and it shows you the Python for those blocks. So that's kind of like, you know, the next stage. If you could do it this way, this is text-based language. That's the next stage from blocks is moving on. They call it like a low ceiling. No, what is this expression? A high floor and a low ceiling. No, a low floor and a high ceiling. Yes, a low floor and a high ceiling is how they describe the microbit. So it's easy to enter, easy to get going. You can get your name scrolling across it within like 2 minutes. But then you can also code it in Python, or if you really want to code it, you can code it in C.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So just actually, I'll sort of wrap it up a little bit. So I sort of going back to this thing about, sorry, just one thing I'm really fascinated by is like the interaction of children and technology, and just actually how it affects their development and their attitude. So we're not at the digital natives thing yet, but are all the building blocks there that we can sort of get the next government to sort of be a bit more proactive about it? Like are all the building blocks there? It's just we're not using them right.
Yeah, like it's kind of like it's been 4 years since the national curriculum changed, and there's still schools that are not teaching computing. You know, it's kind of a staffing problem as well. You know, primary school teachers, you say to them, you're going to teach maths and English and spelling, and they're like, yep, no problem. And you say coding, and they're like, no.
I see. So yeah, there's these sort of rollout issues that still have to be. They probably take a while to work out, like, you know. But somebody probably entering the teaching profession, let's say to go to be an undergraduate in teaching, is probably going to sort of see it when they go to college.
Yeah, there's more training for them now, but you've got a year to become a primary school teacher. It's not long enough, you know, to do all the subjects that you need to do. And you tend to specialize. So yeah, it's tough, like for an adult who wants to be a teacher to get that confidence. That's why I was trying to encourage them to set up like a code club. Yeah. You know, because that's a place that the teacher can fail. Yeah. You know, you can go in, you can run a code club in your school. There's 6 kids in it. Doesn't matter if you don't know the answer, because neither do they. And it's fun. There's no exam. There's no learning. There's no things to tick off. It's just like, okay, let's get the cat to jump. You know, it's just about teachers gaining confidence as well as students.
Yeah. Sorry, I better not hog this conversation. Oh, sorry, there's a question there. Yeah.
Should I stop scaring my screen?
That's all right. Yeah.
I can see everyone.
Yeah, I think she had a question earlier. I don't know. She might not be there now. Oh, wow. It was an amazing presentation. Thank you so much. It was such an interesting book. Do you have any questions for Lorraine, Olga?
No, I don't have any questions, but the presentation is amazing. And I can tell it's not just for kids. I'm sure I got excited to try out all those different projects you presented. So well done, congratulations.
Thank you.
And yeah, it's great, it's great.
Perfect. So I think then, let me see. We shall give maybe 2 or 3 minutes for the guys. Perfect. Usha's back.
Sorry, guys. I was just trying to reconnect in my actual internet because I'm right now on my mobile data and it's on my phone. So, Lauren, I just wanted to know that since you have published this book for, for students, and do you think it's better to have ebook if we are not targeting any particular student set or class or engineering branch or anything?
Yeah, it's definitely not aimed like as a school guide. It's not aimed as a classroom guide. It's kind of just for kids to do either on their own or with their parent. So it's not like
okay. I thought you use it in your activities also.
Yeah, I use it in kind of code club.
Yeah, okay.
So I'll bring it along to code club, and I'll photocopy my own book, which might be illegal, but I don't know, and say, why don't you give this a go? And because the code club is in the school, that the kids who are pictured in the book, it's kind of a real kick. Probably should have done that before I took the photos, but yeah, you can, because it's kind of very, very step by step, and there's, especially the beginner projects, it's like drag this block, put it here, and then the intermediate projects get less instructive. So if you're a real total beginner, you can look at the beginner projects, and then if you get a bit more confidence, move on to the intermediate projects. Whether it's individual is how it's meant to be kind of done, or as a family kind of.
Okay. It's great that you got approached by a publisher. It really would have felt so good, right?
Sorry?
You got approached by a publisher, because even I think of writing any small ebooks and everything. So,
yeah. They just they like my ideas. They approached me and then asked for. They're quite a detail. Like, I was back and forth for 3 months before they agreed to write the book. I didn't want to do 20 projects. I didn't want to do Raspberry Pi. But they thought it would sell more.
What would be your initial preference then?
Just microbit.